We have stories tonight about big things and little things and boxes of things. We start with a story about something very small that has a very big role to play in this world. So when people began to notice that bees were having problems, they began to worry. Ruth Ezell tonight with some questions about bees and with some people who were really glad we asked.
It's the final day of spring pollination season at Eckert Orchards in Belleville, Illinois. It's also the windiest day for the tenacious insects whose job it is to cross-pollinate Eckert's apple trees. Bees are essential to the process that makes many plants and food crops possible. In fact, an estimated 1/3 of man's food supply wouldn't exist without some type of insect pollination. The bees working away in this orchard are owned by a beekeeper who contracts them out to a number of area growers, including Eckert's.
As soon as the apples are in bloom, we bring in the hives. We bring in about 100 beehives, and then we keep them here for a week, and they do all the work. They have to transfer the pollen from tree to tree in order to make the apples.
The sharp decline in the population of managed honeybee colonies, dubbed colony collapse disorder, has captured the attention of the media and of researchers scrambling to figure out why so many bees would leave their hives and vanish. But despite their crucial role in American agriculture, the honeybee is a minor player among other bees and creatures in the ecosystem who pollinate.
We've got over 400 different kinds of native bees in Missouri, from very, very tiny species that are only 3 or 4 millimeters long, little sweat bees that people experience in their gardens, to the big things like the queen bumblebees, which are, it's amazing they can even fly. But all of those things play a role in our natural native ecosystems, pollinating various plants, and without that native pollinator diversity, a lot of our plants wouldn't get pollinated.
And that would have a severe impact on the diversity of Missouri woodlands, prairies, and glades, and the animals who call them home. The unexplained drop in the number of feral or wild bees is also being investigated by scientists. But back to that bee known for its production of one of Mother Nature's most popular sweeteners. These wooden boxes, referred to as packages, each contain thousands of honeybees transported from Louisiana. The packages are being sprayed with sugar water to feed the insects until they reach residential gardens across the St. Louis region. That's Jane Timmons, a member of the Eastern Missouri Beekeepers Association.
Hello, girls.
Her group hopes a surge in people new to beekeeping as a hobby will help replenish the state's honeybee stock. What attracted you to this, to beekeeping?
Well, I was gardening one day, and my husband came to me and said, "Have you noticed we don't have any bees like we did when we were kids?" And I said, "No." And as a gardener, I should have recognized it. I didn't. And so we went in and just started doing a little investigating and found the Eastern Missouri Beekeeper Association website, made a call, went to a meeting, just mostly out of just interest, and we were just enveloped in love. The group just said, oh, if you're interested, you must keep bees.
All right, so the queen is in a plastic cage hanging on a tab in the slot next to the hole. And she's in a cage by herself. She just hit the ground, but she's fine.
On the grounds of the Donald Danforth Plant Science Center in Creve Coeur, veteran beekeepers from the association are training newcomers on how to transfer their charges to permanent apiaries after they're taken home.
That's it. Keep shaking, Laurie.
And it's better this way if you don't see here.
Okay, I see.
See?
So
We're shaking sideways, yeah.
Ted Jansen has become so comfortable after decades working with bees, he forgoes wearing protective gear, even though he suffered the occasional sting.
Now what you do, see, just take it like this, hold upside. Now, see,
other beekeepers like Jane Timmons would rather not take any chances getting stung, though she says bees like these tend to mind their own business. They're not aggressive is what you're saying?
They're not, unless you're around their hive, and the guard bees will come out to investigate and to try to drive you off. But if you're out gardening or your kids are playing in the yard, if you just leave them alone, they're fine, because they're just getting nectar. They're doing their jobs.
So how has the hive worked for you so far?
Well, it's been great. It scared us a little bit, especially the first day after we installed the package. And,
Lauren Grossman is what the Beekeepers Association refers to as a newbie. When we visited Grossman at his University City home, he'd had his bees for just 5 weeks. They're in an apiary next to the garden in Grossman's backyard.
The first thing I do in the morning before I go to work is come out and see, are they getting around, have they woke up, are they out there doing their job, and of course they're usually out before me.
Arms in. Before we get up close to the little pollinators, Grossman's wife Marcia lets me borrow her protective gear while he applies cold smoke to the hive to help keep the bees calm.
And they're buzzing a little bit, but they're all going inside, which is a typical response, I'm told. I'm taking the top off, and on the top there's what's called an inner cover. And you can see some bees are up here on the penthouse.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh, look at the honeycomb. They're getting busy.
right.
Busy bees.
Now they're still, I can see I'm going to have to put some sugar syrup in here. But I'll pull one of these out.
What we found was a very active, very efficient colony of female bees. Networks of individual cells they created were in varying stages of development.
So what we're looking at here, the white area, is the honey. And the yellow are capped cells that have eggs and then larvae, and they're developing. But if you see here, there's a bee that right in the center with a like little orange, looks like bags. That's pollen, and that's where they get their protein.
The efforts of Grossman and other hobby beekeepers may help not just honeybees, but the nearly 20,000 species of bees that exist around the world. They may be fairly small in size, but their role in nature is huge.
It's hard to imagine a world without them, and maybe there wouldn't be a world without them.